There's no instancing? Wow.
I'm here to uphold the law. I advise you not to break it.
If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The Chapel of St. Martin does not violate the terms of the White Gold Concordat. There is no Talos worship going on here.
It violates the spirit of the White Gold Concordat. I must urge you to cease and desist at once.
Civilian?
What is the spirit of the White Gold Concordat?
The spirit of the White Gold Concordat is that men are not and can never be gods. Just as Tiber Septim is not a god, nor is Martin Septim.
But what does the Concordat actually say?
The Concordat forbids Talos worship.
No mention of Martin Septim worship, though?
No, there isn't. I must consult with my superiors. Perhaps we will have to petition for a slight amendment to some unfortunately specific wording within the Concordat.
Oh my god.
We will keep our eyes on your little cult, however.
Heard some bootblack disappeared in the mountains.
I don't believe I've seen you
Rumor has it
before.
he ventured too far into some
Fascinating.
hidden Nordic
A
ruin.
newcomer to Bruma, is that what we have here? A joker, too! Wonderful! Yet another troublemaker for us to keep an eye on. At least if your attempts at sardonicism weren't quite so posturing. Many before you have thought themselves invincible. Above the Thalmor, above the Dominion, above their precious empire and its laws, its concordats. They now find themselves hanging from trees, their decrepit husks wasting away amidst near-endless blizzard. Enjoy your stay in this fair city. No, I just wear the uniform for fun. Yes, of course I am. I'm here to protect the Aldmeri interests in Bruma, and ensure that the terms of the White Gold Concordat are upheld. Important, given that we're so close to Skyrim and its rebellious little Nords.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Not highly of me, I suppose. Then again, the feeling is mutual. Next, you'll be telling me, my, oh my, not many Gwar in Bruma. Scales of Auriel, thanks for telling me that. I'll be sure to tell all my friends. Put up posters, even. To hear you speak of civility is somewhat disarming, considering our environs. This city is filled with uncultured louts who I suspect would quickly turn on each other for an ancient bottle of mead. Given that you at least have the vocabulary and mental faculties to understand the concept of civil society, yes, let us speak. But be quick about it. Disarming lack of incorrigible idiocy aside, you are still not my idea of a scintillating conversationalist.
Because I have tusks.
I will put it in simple terms, so perhaps you might understand.
Conquest.
The Aldmeri Dominion signed an accord with the Empire, known as the White Gold Concordat. That accord guarantees the Dominion, and by extension the Thalmor, that Talos worship shall be outlawed. We are simply here to ensure that the Empire does not renege on that commitment. No. If anything fruitful is going to come of this conversation, it will not be the sentimental exchange of life stories. Suffice it to say that I am a Thalmor Justiciar operating in Bruma. My identity outside of that is entirely irrelevant. I am Altmer. I was born and raised among the wizard lords of Alinor, and now I am posted to a frigid squat filled with brutes and drunkards. That doesn't exactly lend itself to a warm disposition. Does that make things any clearer? Nor does ignorance justify obstinance. But that lesson evidently hasn't trickled down to many residents of this frosty backwater. Oh well, I suppose a Khajiit can't change its spots just like that. But yes, to put a long story short, we are all products of our environment, are we not? Guilt. Why should I feel guilt? I'm a Thalmor Justicia, yes, but the Aldmeri Dominion is not a single consciousness. This empire is a political entity. It has committed untold acts of persecution and genocide in the past. One need only have a cursory knowledge of the Tiber Wars and imperial history to know this to be true. Tiber Septim, the man-god so many Nords and Imperials love to revere, was himself guilty of the sins you attribute solely to the Dominion. But I digress. I am a soldier of the Thalmor, and I carry out the duties assigned to me by my superiors. If your goal is to make me feel guilty for enforcing dictates which your own emperor signed into law, then I'm afraid you will enjoy precious little success. I haven't given it very much thought. My enjoyment is irrelevant. I have a role within the Thalmor, and the duties which go along with that. I have fulfilled and will continue to fulfill that which is asked of me to the best of my ability. Again, my enjoyment, or otherwise, is irrelevant. I am out. That doesn't exactly lend itself to a warm disposition. Then perhaps I made an error. But yes, to put a long story short,
Yeah.
we are all products of our environment.
Yeah, sure you
we
are.
not?
All of this, just
Bye.
carrying duties, enforcing concordats, just following orders. Yeah, your real motives is total conquest. So shut the fuck up.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, Orc? Ah, a fair question. For my trade is perhaps not so obvious on first glance. This one calls himself a hunter and fur trader. He stalks the wilds of the Geralds and brings down the beasts and the deer. He skins them and sells the furs here in Bruma. The Nords love bear pelts, this one has found. Well, this one does also sometimes explore the caves and tombs of the wilds in search of treasure, and sometimes he finds. This one likes to stay south of the border. The Empire makes the Nords let you through the walls. It is better than constant wandering, even if not so profitable. But there are still many septums to be had. If you mean to ask why D'Artagnan is nothing elsewhere, it is quite simple. He came to Citadel a great many years ago, so long ago he does not even remember the reason, and he has stayed here since. There are plenty of opportunities for adventure and profit, if one knows to look in the right places. About D'Artagnan? Not so much to tell. He comes from elsewhere, but his home is in Cyrodiil. He has spent most of his time walking Tamriel in this place, and so far, he has no desire to leave. This one hunts, and he sells for a tidy profit. He plunders ancient tombs and caves in search of treasure, and treasure he finds. He lives comfortably, even if he is not rich. He is self-sufficient, and he is content. Yes, indeed. This one labors long and hard to earn his keep. Hunting can be tiring, exhausting, but this one must press on. Although... This one is feeling a bit lazy today. What if you were to bring him some bear pelts instead? He will pay you well. Excellent. Just return to this one when you have, say, 10 of the pelts.
I may serve Count Carvain, but I take commands from the guard captain.
is times like these that one craves sugar.
I see. It's your defense here. So many.
Oh look, an infant. How quaint. Hunt down and execute Talos worshippers, keep people in line, and enforce the White Gold
There it
Concordat.
is.
Oh, but we practically do.
There it is.
I presume even one such as yourself is aware of the White Gold Concordat, yes? That document guarantees the Thalmor the end of worship of that miserable little man-god the Nords so love to falsely revere, Talos. We need to ensure that this agreement is upheld. Surely the better question would be, why so patient? Because I can tell you in no uncertain terms that you are trying my patience with your primitive blubbering and inane questions. Leave me. Farewell.
Maybe an arrow. An arrow in your head. That would be cool. That would be condescending. Something like this. See? Flying. Across your head.
I'm Bonus. My dad is Albekius. What's your name? My dog, Scruffy, is missing. He's been gone for days and I'm worried about him. Scruffy and I were playing by the North Gate. Dad called me for dinner, and it was only later that day that I noticed he was missing. Maybe that means he went north. It probably does. But Dad won't let me out into the wilderness, though. Would you mind looking for Scruffy? I'll be your best friend forever. Yes! Come back to me with Scruffy, please, stranger!
I'll look for Scruffy.
Good morning. I don't like it. It's better than in a place like Bravil, sure, but I miss the Imperial City. That and my dad. I want to see things, but he never lets me too far out of his sight, or the sight of the guards. I want to see the forests and the ogres and the minotaurs and the trolls for myself, not through the window of some carriage with my dad. See you around.
Stranger, have you seen my dad? Dad's a soldier in the Legion. He's always off with them, serving at some fort up in the mountains. That's what my mom told me. She told me that her dad was in the Legion too. He's big and tall with yellow hair. She works at the Geralview Inn. I don't think she likes it there, but she says she has to make ends meet. Whatever that means. Whose end? And why does he need meat in the first place? Licinia Ironheart. She told me that she used to be called Licinia Prelius, but then she married Dad. Yeah. Grandpa told me it's a soldier's duty and that I should be proud of him. At home, I think. We all live in the big house across from the wizards. Mommy says they're called the Synod Conclave, but they just look like wizards to me. They make so much noise at night that sometimes I can't sleep. That big eye on their building is scary, too. Celis Prelius. Mommy says it's a strong imperial name, but I like my name better. It means I have a strong heart. Mommy must like it better, too, because she uses it even though it makes Grandpa mad.
Let's go to the Cathedral of St. Martin. When I played Oblivion, I had a pretty bad time down in the catacombs. It was filled with ghosts and zombies.
Greetings, stranger. Have you come to hear the Gospel of St. Martin? Yes, St. Martin. Have you heard the tale of how Martin Septim ascended to sainthood? If not, perhaps that would be a good place to begin. Yes, Martin Septim. Are you familiar with his story? Perhaps you would like to hear it.
Sure.
St. Martin had humble beginnings as a priest of Akatosh in the city of Kvatch. When Daedra overran the city during the Oblivion Crisis, Martin led the people to refuge in the chapel. The fabled champion of Cyrodiil came to rescue him and
I know
told
who
him
he
the
is, I
shocking
remember.
news that he was the son of the Emperor. This came as a surprise to him, but it gave him new purpose after his home was destroyed. Along with the champion and the blades, Martin designed and executed a plan to undermine the efforts of Mehrunes Dagon and his servants, Mankar Cameron and the Mythic Dawn cult. There was a great battle here in Bruma as the Great Gate was opened to secure an artifact of immense power for Martin's plan. Finally, the champion under Martin's guidance slew Mankar Cameron as the Imperial City came under a great Daedric siege. It appeared all was lost, but Martin shattered the Amulet of Kings in the Temple of the One, transforming into a huge, flaming avatar of Akatosh.
A dragon.
In this form, he defeated the manifestation of Mehrunes Dagon in an epic, glorious duel. This broke the siege of the Imperial City, restored the war between Tamriel and Oblivion, and ended the Oblivion Crisis.
True. I remember it all now.
Our message? Our message is one of aspiration. The followers of St. Martin must aspire to be more than they are, to rise above their current place in the world and become something greater. In Martin's case, this meant rising from a humble priest to savior of the world. In more common cases, this could mean many different things. Rising above greed, evil, temptation, poverty. This is the power of St. Martin and his holy word. Restoratives. The Chapel of the Divines in Cyrodiil will never turn a blind eye to those in need. Of St. Martin, when Daedra overran the city during the Oblivion...
I was expecting something more.
Crisis, Martin